Hey everybody, today I'm going to bring you a very exciting project called GoChain. I was lucky enough to sit down with the CEO and CTO of the project and really learn a lot about what they've accomplished and what they're looking to accomplish moving forward. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hey guys, how's it going? Crypto Rick here. I am very, very happy and proud to be with Jason Decker and Travis Reeder. Jason is the CEO of GoChain and Travis is the CTO of GoChain. So Travis, Jason, thank you guys very much for joining the channel today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us on.
Well, I just wanted to really get started with one thing, right? Tell us a little bit about yourselves, a little bit about your background and why you chose GoChain as your love.
Sure. Yeah. So quick background on myself is I started out as a proprietary trader in the late '90s, Internet 1.0 days. So kind of seen this movie before, where a lot of money came in to create a new space and a new industry, and it was a ton of fun, back then, and just like it is now. And shortly after that, in early 2000s, I started my own hedge fund, ran it up to about 300 million at its peak. Then I was a partner and a founder in a biotech company, sold to a public company. Then I had an organic food and beverage business, sold to my former business partner, then had a bunch of angel tech investments along the way, and currently have one unicorn in my portfolio where I invested in the A round and the convertible to the B. And then obviously most recently GoChain with Travis, who's been building infrastructure and high throughput applications for the past 20 plus years. And prior to GoChain, he founded and built a company called Iron.io, major VC-backed startup, raised 17 million from top tier VCs like Bain and Sapphire. And well at Iron, they pioneered serverless cloud computing to over 1 million transactions a second. And I know Travis is on the call, but he's a little more humble and he's really a rock star dev. And so I like to kind of give that introduction for him because he doesn't he doesn't color it like I do, because I think he doesn't get the credit that he deserves, because he's really the brains behind the business. I'm probably more the beauty.
I bet he might argue that one as well, right?
Well, there's my intro. Thanks, Jason.
that was easy. Don't you wish everything was that easy for you, Travis? So that's awesome, guys. Obviously, a very impressive background, and it shows, right? The more I looked at the GoChain project, the more I realized that this is a legitimate project with not just an established history, but a really clear plan for the future. But I know that some of my viewers that are watching this video may never have heard of GoChain before. So for everybody out there that's in that boat, just give a little elevator pitch, a minute or two of what exactly is GoChain.
Sure. Yeah. So the basic genesis of GoChain is about 18 months ago. We started working with Ethereum, and we noticed two big problems. I mean, obviously the speed and performance and network congestion, high gas fees and the like, and then also that the fact that it was a decentralized autonomous organization where literally the lights were on and there was nobody there, there was nobody working on it. So, Travis is a Go developer. He took a look at the Ethereum Go client and he just saw a lot of ways to increase speed and performance, reliability, change the proof of work to proof of reputation, which is an upgraded form of proof of authority, save on the energy costs. And then, wrote our own data engine to data compression, data storage. And then on the decentralized autonomous organization side, we just saw a real opportunity to come in and bring a full business suite to bring onboarding and ongoing support and help. So we brought on Matt King, head of our biz dev. He's Harvard undergrad, Yale Business School, worked at Microsoft, family. And then we brought on Ian Alexander to head our customer success team. So we really saw some ways to come in and a niche where we could plug in, basically almost plug and play from I would say an enterprise perspective to bring more of a workflow to the network protocol space. And I think it's showed, and we've been able to make some nice adoption of it.
Cool, yeah, and what you started with, right? Working with the Ethereum blockchain, I think anybody that's worked with the Ethereum blockchain for a while has felt the pain at one time or another, right? Some new dApp comes out and everybody's trying to get the latest kitty or whatever the heck it is, and all of a sudden I have to spend $15 to send my buddy $20 in Ether. It's been crazy at times, and then just the latency issues that have been an issue as well. So scalability and transaction speed are obviously some of the drawbacks to the current Ethereum technology. So it's great to see companies like GoChain that not just envision a fix for it, but are implementing a fix for it right away. When I was on the website, I noticed that, I was looking through the recent news and updates, and there's a lot to be excited about with what's happened with GoChain. So what are the most exciting recent updates in your eyes, or partnerships for that matter? What's been completed with that, and what do you think the impact will be for the user experience moving forward?
Sure. Yeah, so I'd say what I think we're most excited about are kind of some of the corporate partnerships, like the Microsoft Azure partnership. I think it's going to help us bring more enterprise on the blockchain, and I think that's just going to bring more credibility and notoriety to to the GoChain brand and the GoChain network. We've got some Fortune 500 enterprise companies that we're talking to about becoming nodes, and then furthering that conversation to talking to them about their agendas concerning blockchain, and so that it seems like that door or window, so to speak, is really starting to open. So that's what I would really look for from us over the next 12 months. We'll continue to really push everything, getting as many dApps and ICOs on the platform. But I think what we're really excited about is trying to get some of those big enterprise players, on GoChain and into blockchain and supporting them.
Yeah, that's been really cool. I noticed, you have some ICO stuff on there, the dApp stuff on there. Being able to use all the important features of Ethereum is important, but having the scalability and transaction speed again is really, really important. If we want to see more people use this technology, we have to have an improved user experience for people that are currently using the technology, and almost more importantly for the new people that are trying it for the first time ever. If they're experiencing any of those network delays, high gas fees, or anything like that, is going to be a real problem trying to keep them interested in this, right? So
I think too, and maybe Travis can talk about this, but I don't think people understand that how easy it is to switch from Ethereum to GoChain. We really built it so that we're 100% Ethereum compatible, and you literally can seamlessly lift and shift and transfer to GoChain. I mean, Travis, do you want to add anything on how easy it is for somebody to go with the GoChain?
Yeah, so as Jason was saying, our goal has always been to be 100% Ethereum compatible. So, all the same tools you use, the same smart contracts, the developer tools you're using to deploy those contracts. Most of the current wallets that are out there all support GoChain, officially. So you don't have to, it's not a big leap to change. You can just basically point to a different endpoint. A lot of people use Infura or whatever to deploy and use the API, and we have an Infura-like API running too. So, you can be up and running with the same contracts you're deploying to Ethereum and deploy them to GoChain, within minutes, kind of thing.
Nice.
Automatically get the 100 times scale and stuff like that.
I like it.
I was going to add too that, and the private key and the public keys with all the wallets will stay the same. So anything that's running on Ethereum now, if they transfer over all of that, nobody has to worry about changing public or private keys on that transfer over. Really,
yeah, I think
transition.
I think that's a very key point for the end user experience, right? I think that's most people. A lot of users don't care about how it's working, right? They care about how to use it, and that's pretty much it. So simplifying that process and keeping the same keys, I think, makes it extremely easy and beneficial for users to look into something like GoChain. So that's a huge win that I see personally. So that's good. That's a good add-on there for sure. So you guys obviously have a ton of momentum behind you right now. With all this momentum and excitement, what's next? What do you see in the next 6 and 12 months for GoChain?
Sure. Yeah, like I said, the enterprise space, and then what I also think is a really good use case that we'd like to target, and we're just starting to scratch the surface of it, are social programs. And I think international aid, and I think there's a massive use case for putting things like prescription drugs and tokenizing food stamps and government spending. And I think that we're going to try to probably with some third world countries first. Those will probably be the first ones to move. But I really think that that's a great use case for blockchain. And so we're definitely kind of knocking on the doors there, scratching the surface of that. And then I also think that institutions, enterprise, I think this is going to become more mainstream. And then I think security tokens. I think people are really starting to realize that there are only so many utilities. If you think of just true utilities, you think of like, water, gas, electric, power. You could even move to kind of some of the stuff like infrastructure, pipes, all that kind of stuff. But eventually you kind of run out. There's a finite number of those where, on the security token side, I think that's a much larger equation. So I really see the security token side of things really picking up, in the next year. Then I also would say regulation. And I think at this point, I think the industry is begging for it. And I actually think that would make the market go up as a whole.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree with you more on the regulation piece, right? I mean, if you would have asked me a year ago, my answer may have been different. I would have said, we don't need regulation. We don't need all those guys stepping into our business. Look at us, we're thriving. And then we all saw what happened without regulation. The Wild West took over. The scammers came out in droves, and people unfortunately were taken advantage of. And quite frankly, that would have not happened if the proper regulations were put into place. So yes, would it hamper the creativity of certain people sometimes? Maybe they have more hoops to jump through. But if you're doing business in any well-developed first world country as it is, you're used to jumping through those hoops. You're used to having to comply with regulators, and that still hasn't stopped some of the most brilliant minds in the world from developing great products in industries out there. So it won't be the showstopper that people think it will be. And I do honestly agree with you and think that that's what's needed in order to really be taken serious, especially in the investment world.
Definitely. And I think people will adjust. They always do. So it doesn't matter what the regulations are when they come out. Everyone will adjust, and they'll figure out a way to play nice, just like they should be anyway. So I think at this point we would really welcome that. And then I guess the other thing that everyone seems to be waiting for is the Bitcoin ETF. So I think, and maybe that comes out along with the regulation kind of at the same time. I think definitely, that's another thing to look for, because that should bring a lot more, institutional money in the space as well, and retail money.
Yeah, what's the number, right? $5.1 trillion a day that goes to that market. So I think we could use a little bit of that in our market. That's for sure. So, we talked a lot about what the plans are, what we've done so far, what we're looking to do. In order to get to where you want to be, what do you guys envision as your largest obstacle right now? Whether it's an obstacle that you're still figuring out a solution for, or an obstacle that you already foresaw and have a solution for, but we always have obstacles in business. So what do you think your largest one is?
Yeah, I'd say, the way we look at the network protocol space is that you need to do three things to really win in that space. And, number one is scalability. And I think we've been actively working on that with a lot of other chains. Number two, which is probably what our biggest challenge is I would say adoption. But I say this in a broader context. I don't think anybody really has adoption. And what I mean by that is getting real world applications, on the blockchain that everybody uses every day. I think that's really kind of the biggest challenge is finding those kind of killer dApps, so to speak, that, bring in the masses to use, GoChain or the blockchain. And so that to me is kind of the biggest, the biggest challenge. And we work on that every day, talking to, we probably talk to 20, 30, plus projects a week, and see who we can partner with to come, build as many real world applications, on the blockchain. It seems like right now, you've mainly got, online gaming and games, and, they tend to lead the way, along with the adult industry and pretty much everything as it is with the internet. And it looks like that same thing's going to happen with blockchain. They'll lead the technology first, but then I think the real world applications will come second. And then I think thirdly too, something that we're working on, but it's still a challenge, is governance. And I think that's number three to win the protocol race. You got to get all three of those right. And so we're actively working on all three of those. And obviously adoption and governance, I think, are a little bit more kind of gray areas, and require a little bit more, art rather than science, because you gotta kind of finesse those more, so to speak.
I think you can't just code adoption, right?
Yeah, right. Although to that point, I was going to say, I don't think until, recently there wasn't blockchains that existed that could make a good user experience. So these dApps that launch, a lot of them just are basically unusable because they're too slow and things like that. And GoChain's kind of, relieving that pressure valve a bit so you can build apps that do respond and users can actually use these things now.
Yeah, and I've noticed a lot of the dApps, not just they're slow, but they get very expensive if the dApp is popular, right? Because when it's a blockchain-based game, so to speak, every move in that game requires gas. Well, if the network's congested and every transaction is requiring $7 in gas just to get completed, all of a sudden this game is more expensive than going to a Vegas casino. Right? You're like, wait a minute.
$7 and then wait 7 minutes too.
Yeah, exactly, right? So that's a real problem. So speaking of time, a little birdie told me about this thing called Turbo Wallet. Maybe Travis wants to talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, on the same topic about kind of mainstream users and stuff like that, I have a thing against, or not against it, but usability, right? So Turbo Wallet was kind of made for somebody could start using it in seconds and not have to think about, much of anything. The current apps, you got to use MetaMask, for instance, install a Chrome extension. My mom's not going to know how to do that. And then let alone figure out how to use MetaMask. And then the MetaMask pop up whenever you want to perform an action. It's a really bad user experience. So Turbo Wallet was kind of a way, it's sort of like a, P2B Venmo-y type tool where you can send Go tokens. It actually supports ETH now too and ERC20.
Oh, nice.
But you can send tokens through your messenger. Right now it's Telegram and Discord. In seconds, just a /send 10 Go to JSON kind of thing, and you're done. And it takes, on GoChain, it's, 5 seconds later, he's got it. It's recorded in the blockchain. So it's a nice, good user experience.
Yeah, I got to test that last night, actually, and I was very, very impressed with the speed. I mean, before I could even reply back, did you send it? I go, oh, there it is. It was absolutely amazing, and to think that something like that is scalable is very, very exciting, right? Because I think that's one of the things that's held crypto back with the real world adoption. Not just the volatility. There's answers to volatility. There's ways people can protect themselves from volatility. But as a merchant, you're not going to want to sit there for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour to make sure that this transaction is actually going to hit your wallet, right? And as a consumer, you can't sit there for an hour when you're just trying to get in and get out. So finding these types of ways to not just have peer-to-peer, but down the line, potentially peer-to-consumer, consumer to customer and to business, and all of those types of things is truly going to help mass adoption. And that's what I focus on my channel. Is I try to bring not just the solutions, but the actual products out there as well that can help to mass adoption. And lately, a lot of it has been gamification style stuff. So talking to you guys about how can we improve that is huge, because there's a huge demand out there for the blockchain based games and crypto collectibles, all of that stuff. It has a very large market, but they all have the same problem, and that's scalability. If it blows up, it's almost a bad thing. Like if it gets crazy popular overnight, that could almost be the nail in its coffin. They need to have something that's scalable, like GoChain.
That's right. Yeah, you nailed it.
You see, I'm pretty good too, guys. I can join the team.
I was going to say too about Turbo Wallet too, and Travis kind of mentioned it, but I think it's important for people to realize that when if you think about opening a Venmo account or a PayPal account, it takes about 3 to 5 minutes to kind of fill in all the blanks, name, address, date of birth, social security number, kind of whatever you got to put in there. Then they typically hook it up to a bank account, and they do 2 deposits, and that takes 48 hours and put it back in there, before you can send and receive money. And with Turbo Wallet, you literally push start and your account is up and ready, and you can use it within 1 second. And so there's just nothing, that's kind of the tagline of GoChain too, is better, faster, stronger. That's kind of what technology should do. It should be better, faster, smarter, stronger. And that's what we try to do with Turbo Wallet.
Yeah, and again, personally using that, for everybody out there watching this, I'll put some instructions down in the description below on how to get yourself set up, and it's literally one click. If you have Telegram, you just click it, and it's it's going to do the rest for you. It's that easy to set up. It's that fast to send. Go and now Ethereum as well. So this is a very, very usable product that I was extremely impressed with from what I got to see. So I can see that I'll be using it. That's for sure.
We want to note, though, that people need to realize that if they send Ethereum or any ERC20, it still needs to go through the Ethereum blockchain versus if you send GoChain, it goes through the GoChain blockchain. So if you send ETH, it might take minutes or tens of minutes, and then the fee to send that, could be tens of cents to dollars versus if you use GoChain, it's going to take 5 seconds and cost you somewhere between a 10,000 to 100,000 penny. So
moral of the story is stop sending me ETH, start sending me GoChain, people.
Exactly.
Here we go.
Start using GoChain. That's the moral of the story.
I like it. I like it a lot. So before I let you go, guys, this has been really good for me. I've known a little bit about GoChain, but talking to you and hearing your passion and your excitement about it, it really helps me. And anytime I can sit and speak with members of a team, especially at your level, it shows that you're not detached from the community. And in the crypto community, you know how important that is. We're sick of all the people hiding behind fake LinkedIn profiles and all of those things out there. So I want to say thank you for taking the time to come onto the channel, show your faces, and really share the story with us. But before we let you go, what else is there, guys? What else do you want people to know about the project, about the team, or any other future plans with GoChain?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that we're actively looking at, what's stopping adoption and what's stopping the mainstream public from getting in the space. So things like, the private key interface, that something has to change on that. And if you look at Turbo Wallet, we don't give out the private keys there, but that's the kind of thing that just like Travis said, his mom isn't going to know how to do that. My dad isn't going to know what to do with the private key. So I think for crypto to gain mass adoption, that something needs to be handled there. Custody solutions, I obviously think something needs to be handled there. Using MetaMask for smart contract platform and things like that. I mean, that all those kinds of things. So basically what the world should know about us is that we actively sit down and try to talk through, where's the friction in blockchain and what we're building, and how can we make a better user experience, and how can we get, real adoption and get the masses, not only onto the blockchain, but specifically onto GoChain. And I think that, we're hoping to kind of lead the forefront in that. And the last thing I'd say is governance. We've got David Koenig, who's one of the foremost experts in governance in the world. And we think in probably about 4 weeks now, we'll come out with a full-scale comprehensive governance framework. And I think that, just like regulation, at some point, people are going to be begging for more governance too. And we want to be ahead of the curve, on that. I don't know if Travis has anything to offer as well.
I'll just add one thing on the technical side. Our goal by next year at some point is to reach 13,000 transactions per second. So that puts us in kind of Visa territory. It's another 10x from where we're at now, but that's our main goal for the next year.
Nice. Yeah, I noticed you guys are at 1,300 right now. So yeah, I mean that's a great number as is compared to most out there. So yeah. 13,000 is a huge step up, and that means no more waiting for merchants, right? That's a huge part of the problem that I see today. So that's a great solution, guys. So I want to thank you again. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Travis. Thanks for taking the time to join the channel today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
We'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.